The matchup between Ito and Herring. Remember, Herring got a late start to the sport. 33 years old now, started at 27. Power punch connect percentage. Herring does a better job there at 46.2, but both men are above the junior lightweight average.
Gentlemen, got your instructions in the dressing room. Anything below here, I'm going to call. Listen to my commands when I say stop, break, and box, okay? Any questions here? Any questions here? Good luck, both of you. Touch them up.
Joe, Tim, and Dre ringside with you here for Jamel Herring's attempt to win a world title. Masayuki Ito, you know, he is pretty basic, but very, very efficient and productive with that right hand.
Yes, he is. There's power on that right hand, and that is the southpaw killer. And I'm talking about Ito. He understands distance.
As Bud Crawford sits ringside here, the welterweight champion who has been such a force in the recent success of Jamel Herring. And this would mean so much to that camp. What's the best way for Herring to go about this early, Dre?
It's like I mentioned in the outset during our studio segment, Jamel Herring, it's less technical. Of course, he has to execute the game plan that he's been working on for the past 8 to 10 weeks. But my hope and his hope is that he's shaking that B-side mentality so he can put on an A-side performance tonight.
Where Herring he threw a left to the body and landed. He's gonna be able to land that a lot because Ito has a wide stance. And when you have a wide stance, you kind of put yourself in quicksand. You're not allowed to move out as quickly as you need to.
As you saw moments ago, they'll need to move out quickly against that southpaw right hook of Jamel Herring. And you see Ito coming in that time, is able to land a short right hand. For those who are enjoying the NBA and are just coming over to see this world title fight right now, remember the backstory with Herring is that he grew up, got a little bit of a late start, served our country, 9 years of service, 2 tours of duty in the Marines, had a strong amateur career. Off balance for a moment there is Ito. Was the U.S. team captain for the 2012 Olympics, and he has been fighting inspired and fighting through tragedy and great heartbreaking loss. His second child, his daughter Ariana, passed away in 2009. Today would have been her 10th birthday.
And you hope that Herring has shook that B-side mentality so he can put on a great fight tonight and give Ito a test, and everybody wins if that happens.
Well, I like what I'm seeing from Herring right now. He's counter-punching effectively. Anytime that Ito steps to him and kind of exposes himself, he's countering with something over the top or straight down the middle. Great job from Herring so far.
The southpaw with the left hand to the body.
You see the redness already developing on that rib cage of Ito from the straight left hand from Herring.
Ito is exceptional if you stand in front of him and allow him with that wide stance to load up on that right hand. If you start to give him angles, if you make him think, if you sneak attack him on the inside, he starts to become just a really good fighter. But can Herring keep that kind of pace up mentally and physically and not have the mental lapses that he's shown in the past?
And he is known in meeting with him yesterday that he has to answer that question.
He's looking good right now. I would love to get him if he was to get on his jab a little bit more, but right now the movement is great. The small, little settled movement.
End of one. Round number 2 here. Herring and Ito, just outside of Orlando, Florida.
And Tim, to your point earlier, Herring is looking outside the ring, getting instructions from Terrence Crawford, which is never a bad thing. Obviously, his team is giving him instructions in the corner. But to your point, he looks like a guy who's trying to gather as much as he can, as much information and as much help as possible for this moment. And I don't know if that's going to help him or hurt him.
Overload?
Yes, it could be overload. But at the same time, Tess, I love what I'm seeing. You know, like I said, I continue saying this, but you see the redness. Oh, he was hit with a big shot right there. A looping right hand. Ito actually changed, the way he threw his right hand. Instead of throwing it down the middle, he swept with the right hand, a right hook, and it landed on Herring.
There's that left hand to the body again from Herring.
Ito has a special right hand. It's effective, it's explosive, it's natural, but that's also his problem. He knows it's all of those things that I just named, so therefore he relies on it too much. He should come behind his jab, just like we saw in the past fight that we talked about with Pedraza. To blind his opponent, he'd be more effective with the right hand.
And also, Tess, to go back to what you were talking about, you know, a fighter really only absorbs the last thing that's said to him. You know, if you got, you know, 4 different people speaking to you, you know, it's tough to really collect all of that. So the last thing that's pretty much said to you, the fighter's going to go out there, remember that, and do it, and apply it. So point I'm trying to make is little, less is better. Less is better.
Keep an eye on that left eye of Ito. He was cut in his last fight. He came in the fighter meeting yesterday, was very red, still puffy. It's red right now, and it's something we want to keep an eye on.
And, you know, the thing that alarmed us is that it was so conspicuous in how it was raised, Dre.
That was what concerned me.
Yes.
It's one thing to have a scar or some type of faint mark, but it had not fully healed. Rudy Hernandez, who's a great coach, but also a great cut man, said he was not worried about it.
So now success with that right hand from Ito here in round number 2.
That was smart. You see Ito, he's faking up and down, changing the trajectory of his right hand. But I love how he feinted with a couple of shots, threw a couple of, you know, throwaway punches, and then got in position to land on Herring with the right hand.
You guys were just talking about the cut, and I got a good look at it before the fight in the locker room, and he actually put some cover up. He put some makeup on over the cut to not give any advantage to his opponent, at least with how the eye test goes, guys.
Now hold on a second. We've heard of fighters, obviously, you know, putting the grease, putting the Vaseline. You're telling me he actually applied makeup to his face to not show the raised redness to his opponent. That's a first. Have you ever heard of that?
I guarantee you that makeup is off his face right now.
Right now, it is the American hopeful, Jamel Herring. And Masayuki Ito had success in that last round, especially with the right hand upstairs.
It's still early, fellas, but to this point, Jamel Herring has made Ito look a crude fighter with just a jab. I like to see him double the jab up, throw the jab to the body, move right, and maybe hook. But to this point, he's demystified him with just the jab.
Yeah, he's able to do that. You want to know why? Because Ito is moving to his own right. You know, he's not getting outside position. Normally, that's what you try to do when you're fighting against a southpaw. He's moving right into the left hand of Herring. I don't know why Herring's not throwing a jab and throwing the left hand behind it. It's open for him.
You know, when you mention outside position and you have that orthodox versus southpaw, just watch the lead feet. In fact, right now you'll see time and again, you'll see Herring stepping on that foot of Ito. But outside position is who can get to the outside and have that leverage with these contrasting styles. There it is again as you watch the foot step on the other.
Well, make no mistake about it, Ito is a crude fighter with power. His crudeness has just been successful up until this point.
If Ito want to take away the left hand of Herring, that left hand that keeps laying down to the body, he needs to move to his own left side to take that away. It's
Which
going
is
to land
boxing
all
101,
night.
right?
It's boxing, but that's the inexperience. That's not having the amateur pedigree to go along with a professional.
But the only problem with that is that Herring has been missing and landed a few times a counter check right hook, and if Ito goes in that direction, he's going to make the impact of that punch twice as hard.
Tim, you mentioned it, the lack of experience prior to this. Yes, he's a world champion, but the pedigree. Herring, an Olympian, Team USA captain, 92 amateur fights. Ito was playing basketball as a teenager, then fell in love with the sport. Didn't have any amateur experience. Ito trying to chase now.
He's chasing the wrong way, though, Tess. He's going to run into a left hand of Herring. He's moving right in position for it. You got to move left as often as you possibly can when you're facing the southpaw.
I'm telling you, Tim, the right hook of Herring is clicking tonight. He's just missed it. I don't think Ito wants to move in that direction.
See if he can find a spot for it with Ito coming in here as we come towards the end of round number 3.
Mouthpiece in. Bucks.
Masayuki Ito used to a lot of punch output. Right now, not effective with that output, is Herring is only allowing him to land 17% of the 127 punches that he threw at the end of 3 rounds. We just heard from Bomac, Brian McIntyre, the trainer in the corner of Jamel Herring. Christina is with him.
Bomac, what do you like from Jamel so far through 3 rounds?
Hey, he's listening in the corner. He's working his jab. Ito can't get past that jab. He's starting to land that left hand now. Starting to land that left hand. There you go. He's starting to taste that power. Ito's getting frustrated. He's starting to get wild in there. Hey, he's looking great. Shout out to Omaha, Nebraska.
Thank you, Bo.
Bomac can never, ever turn off the personality. Right in the middle of training in a world championship fight. And he's always going to recognize his hometown. This is a critical fight in terms of the reputation in the sport. It's one thing, obviously, to have Bud Crawford, arguably the best fighter on earth. It's another thing to take a guy like Jamel Herring at 19-2 and win a world championship. It would be a major feather in the cap for that Crawford camp led by Bomac.
Boy, Herring is having his way right now. Good boxing skills right now. Boxing 101, beautiful movement. He exiting out the side door.
Don't hold and punch.
And he has Ito lunging towards him, exposing himself. Just can't wait to the counter.
Yeah, well, Herring has to look out for
There it is. There it is. Right hook.
The right hand, either straight or looping, but he has to worry about one punch, and that's the danger of being one-dimensional. You face a fighter who can think, they'll highlight what you do well, and they'll take that away from you. Then the question is, what now?
Come on, punch
Boxing,
out.
baby.
Punch out.
That's the sweet science.
But Herring has to be alert.
Stop. Stop.
This whole fight, he
I can't let
cannot
you
go to
do that.
sleep because Ito is going to continue to try to land that shot.
Can't fall asleep not 1 second of this fight. Oh,
Stop. Stop.
just a little bit off the mark there.
And if you're a trainer and you have a guy like Ito who has no amateur background and he's gotten knockouts and he's known for one big punch, you can't get enamored with that. You have to take him back to the lab, back to the gym and say, let's work on the jab. Let's work on the hook. I know you can do the right hand, but let's work on these other aspects that you're going to need as you get deeper into this championship run.
Boy, Herring is in a good rhythm. Did you see how he exited to his own right hand and swept around Ito as Ito lunged forward? Beautiful boxing. Look at that. There it is again.
Coming to the end of round 4, this world title fight with Ito and Herring when we come back. Big boxing news, a major signing. We'll show you it when we return. Featherweight division just keeps getting more and more interesting. There is the Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum and Robeisy Ramirez, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist from Cuba. He has signed with Top Rank. He's going to fight on ESPN, the gold medals from the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. And then look at what happened on FaceTime after the signing. That was Shakur Stevenson, one of the best prospects on earth, now a contender at featherweight. And remember, it was Robeisy who got the best of when Shakur said, I've been waiting for this. I want you. Well, there he is sitting ringside. We are going to see Shakur Stevenson fighting in his hometown in Newark, New Jersey on July 13th. He is on a collision course, is Shakur Stevenson, for a world title fight. But here comes the gold medalist Ramirez right into the pro ranks, signing with Top Rank, and things are going to get interesting, aren't they? Round number 5 here. Herring, Marine, thinking everything has come together in his career at the right time. Will it be this time, tonight, here against Ito?
Let him go. Stop.
Herring is so calm, cool, collected, so smooth right now. Look, who's the fighter that's panicking right now? It's Ito, trying to get in close, can't get in position to land anything on Herring.
Come on, guys.
And now he's starting to get aggressive, more aggressive, and exposing himself even more.
If you're a challenger going in to face a champion, you got to first believe that you can win and that you're going to be the boss. And then round by round, you have to convince the champion that he doesn't belong in the ring with you. And right now, Jamel Herring is doing that.
Yes, he is.
Well, we heard Bomac Brian McIntyre, the trainer, Jamel Herring, saying, we can sense that Ito's getting frustrated, getting wild. What's going on with Rudy Hernandez, the trainer for Ito, in the other corner, Christina?
Joe, Rudy was brutally honest. He said, I think my fighter is trying too hard. I need him to relax, to close the gap, and stop reaching so much with that right hand.
Guys, what do you think of Rudy Hernandez's assessment?
He's exactly right. It's experience. We're talking about the amateur pedigree. It's experience. I know he's had, 27 professional fights, but at the end of the day, that amateur pedigree always comes to the forefront.
We can only use the amateur pedigree so many times. If you look at the numbers, Ito has had 177 total rounds as a professional, and Herring has only had 114. Ito has had 19 championship rounds, and this is Herring's first championship fight. So Ito should be more settled and have the advantage.
I love when Drago's counterbalance.
We do that well.
Stop!
Reminder, Sports Center is coming up next right here on ESPN. We'll give you all the coverage of everything happening in the NBA as the finals is now set. Golden State and Toronto. All the post-game coverage of the NBA, all the post-fight coverage here. Will we have a new American world champion?
That's what Herring needs to do right now. Just like we saw in the first fight, body shots, vicious body shots, are how you slow down a hard-charging puncher who believes that he's going to land that big shot.
Dre, it's just a matter of time before he gets Ito to land, walk right into something hard.
Good work with the straight left hand. Look at Herring.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean now.
If you're just joining us here of our Top Rank Boxing on ESPN from Kissimmee, Florida, what a first fight we had between Jose Pedraza and Antonio Lozada. That is available on Watch ESPN if you want to see the replay. A 9th round TKO with loads of punches. Speaking of punches, I want you to look at that last column here of connect percentage. 16% is all Ito is able to come up with against Herring. Meanwhile, Andre sees it this way. A clean sweep right now for the title hopeful. A guy who was born in New York and served our country, 2 tours of duty, all the heartbreak and tragedy and adversity overcome, and then finding himself at 33 years old with Bud Crawford and that group and blossoming into this world title challenger, who as of right now could be boxing his way towards an upset and a title belt.
Frank Gentili, the ref, told us he prides himself on letting guys fight, but it would be a shame in what has been a victory of technique over, well, crudeness, if it devolves into a wrestling match, fellas.
Ooh, Ito break him again here.
You see that right hand that Ito landed right there.
Yep. And now off balance that time was Ito as Herring tried to come in. Christina's with Rudy Hernandez, the trainer of Ito.
Get close, side to side. Move your body from side to side.
Stop. Rudy, what's your message to your fighter right now?
He's trying too hard to go to the head when he should be working to the body. Side to side, Ito, side to side. Give yourself room.
How is he dealing with Herring's jab?
It's not the jab, it's the side movement that he has a problem with.
Thank you, Rudy.
Let's go. Stay out here.
And how do you cut that side movement off? You got to throw left hooks. And Ito doesn't have a good left hook. He has the right hand, but not the left hook. That's how you take away that right angle of a southpaw.
Stop! Stop!
You throw the right hand and you follow behind with the left hook.
Jamel Herring has thrown some good body shots, but not enough in my opinion. I think he needs to continue to rip to the body in every clinch that he can. Every time they're together, get 1 or 2 shots off and steal some more.
Hard to the body. Look at that right hook there.
Doesn't have to be hard, it has to be well placed. You get a hard shot, take it, but if you're close, just stab him inside. Take some wing.
There's that right hand from the champion. And it goes to the body before they wrap up again.
Keep your arm off his head.
It's inevitable that that right hand was going to get through at some point in time, and at least in that moment, Herring took it well.
A better round for Masayuki Ito.
Box.
Herring has to stay concentrated all night long, like you said, Dre.
Come on.
He cannot let off the gas pedal, not even a little bit.
Stop.
Championship fights are not only taxing physically, but they're taxing mentally because you have to stay focused for the duration of a fight if it goes the distance.
And I would think in this case, even more so for Herring, knowing the task at hand and how he has to go about it.
Exactly. I mean, it's everything. It's the age that he's in. He got hit with a right hand right there.
Falling asleep just for a minute.
It's the type of fighter that he's fighting. It's the asset or the biggest asset of the fighter that he's fighting, which is the right hand. So it's all of those things. It's the mental awareness that he needs at all times.
But also at the same time, Dre, when you're having your way, when you're having success like Herring, you can get a little bit relaxed. You can let off the gas pedal work, so you sort of think that way. So that's why I'm saying the concentration is very important right now for Herring.
Herring needs to keep using his jab. He needs to keep pop-shotting Ito every chance he gets and go to the body. Ito needs to keep doing what he's doing, but I would like to see him pick his jab up. He'd hide and conceal the right hand. Herring would not see it coming.
He needs to take that right hand down to the body, Dre. You know, Herring's slipping out the side door. If he takes it down to the body, he will land.
The problem with Ito is he telegraphs everything with that wide stance. He has a dynamic stance. He's letting you know without throwing a punch that a big shot is coming.
That's right.
Herring has an amateur background, great team, great experience. He sees it coming. The body of Ito tips off his right hand. He'll dip to the right, dip to the left. He'll start to pick his feet up faster, and then all of a sudden he'll shoot the right hand. And most of the time tonight, Herring has seen it coming.
Like that.
And you see, he doesn't anchor that right foot down. You know, he brings it forward, exposing himself and off balance.
Because thus far, that's been enough. That style, that right hand, you know, those weaknesses, he's gotten away with them, but tonight he's getting exposed.
Outboxed. That's it right there. Dive down into
Good job on separation. As Herring is able to score here. Final minute of round number 7. Can he box his way to a world title against the one-trick pony, the one-dimensional world champion? Loading up that right hand time and again is Masayuki Ito.
That was the tip-off right there, that big step that Ito just took, and Herring took a half step backward. Ito never got the shot off.
Well, Ito, what he needs to do, he needs to change levels. He needs to drop his level and sneak him with something over the top and get Herring to pull back, which he suddenly do sometimes.
Off balance again. End of 7. 2 tours in Iraq for Herring. Fellow Marines out here to support him in his bid to become a world champion. 9 years of service to our country. And he's not bashful about talking about the images that he still has, the thoughts of being a gunner on a Humvee, what he saw, and now the fight that's in front of him could be life-changing. For 7 rounds, you see the defense has been the key. Ito only able to land 17% of his total punches against Jamel Herring.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
That was the call to order. Outbox the one-dimensional champion. Be able to move, pick your spots, counter.
Movement, sweet science.
Body work on the inside.
I'm really surprised Herring hasn't gone to that body a lot more. He's a really good inside fighter. He knows how to rip inside. We see him working right now, and I think he may be settling down and feeling like he's safe enough to be in there to get those shots off.
Not wasting his punches as well, and now Ito tries to turn the table. Doing good body work, just like the guy who gives him so much advice. Christina is with the best in the world.
Don't want to interrupt him right now because he has his coach's hat on as he is coaching Jamel. Terrence Crawford has been like a 4th trainer all throughout training camp for Jamel Herring, telling him right now to just keep boxing. Terrence, as you tell him to keep boxing, he's doing that pretty well so far. How would you evaluate his performance thus far?
Oh, he's doing great. You know, he's boxing real good. You know, I don't want him to bang with him because that's Ito's only chance is to get lucky with the right hand. That's all he's throwing.
What does it mean to you to have him a part of your team, and what have you meant to him in pushing him in this training camp?
Oh man, that's like one of my brothers. You know, I really want him to win. He's been working very hard for this, and
Let him go. Let him go, Harry.
wouldn't be too happy.
Let him
You know
go.
what I mean? If he lucked up and something bad happened, but I believe he's gonna get the victory.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you.
Right now, Herring is fighting Ito's fight right now.
I actually like him on these terms, and I didn't think I'd be saying that.
I don't, because he gets good shots like that.
No.
He needs to get out and get on his jab and make it easy, make the fight easy for himself, and not allow Ito to have a chance to land that right hand.
I like those exchanges. They are dangerous for Herring. Ito got some good shots in. Herring slightly got the better of it.
Let him
But
go.
sometimes you
Let
have
him
to
go.
fight and get respect in order to go back to boxing like you want to box.
That's what you were talking about, Tim.
That's exactly what I'm talking
That
about.
moment right there from Ito.
Yeah, what's the point of taking the risk? You was boxing on the outside, it was easy. So why take it in the inside and make it rough for yourself and tire yourself out? That's Ito's game.
And some of this is fatigue. We know in championship fights, the fight really starts during the 7th round and on. That's when your conditioning is tested, your mental wherewithal is tested, and that's what we see right here in both fighters. They're just a little fatigued.
Be interesting to hear if Bomac tells him to get back to the outside, how Brian McIntyre, the trainer, saw the infighting there.
Box.
Listen, there were moments where he was effective, and he showed that he can bite down, act like a fighter, and had some thudding body shots. But it's clear the strategy from the get-go needs to be applied in the eyes of Bomac.
That was great instructions by Bomac. Great instructions. Keep the fight on the outside. Make it easy for yourself. There's no need to be having Ito come in and rough you up and lean on you and gash you.
You know, fellas, we're at a point in the fight where Ito can't win
Come on,
a decision,
guys, come on.
but Herring
Don't
is
hold him.
allowing him back in the fight. Mauling is Ito's game.
You know, I wonder how the ringside judges see it, Mark, because often you'll get only two kinds of judges. Those who will appreciate the boxing and those who will lean towards the default mode of simple aggression.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why when I used to fight, I used to be aggressive and I used to box, and I need to please both parties here.
Yeah, but if the judges are going by the letter of the law, it's effective aggressiveness that they should be looking at. And thus far, Ito has had very little effectiveness in this fight with Herring.
Don't do that stiff arming.
And Tim, you're right. Herring should not sit on the inside
Get that
too
arm
long.
back.
No.
I like him
Snap
on the
that
inside
punch.
in spurts. Get 1 or 2 shots off and get back to boxing. When he gets too greedy, that's when he gets hit.
You know what I want to see from Herring? There's an uppercut that's available for him. Soon as Ito lunges forward with that right hand, there's a nice short right uppercut, or left uppercut, I should say, available for Herring because he's leaning over that front knee, Dre.
Break! Step back, step back, step back.
That's a punch that Ito hasn't seen yet.
This is where Herring has to show his worth. This is where he has to show that he is championship material. He's fatigued right now.
Yes,
he's
he
not
is.
exhausted,
Come on.
but he's fatigued. So is Ito. Who can keep the mental focus? Who can still listen to the coach and go execute? Herring is slowly giving it away a little bit, and Ito's coming on right now.
I'm just waiting on that second win of Herring. You know, that's one of the things that he got from the Crawford camp is conditioning. You know, before he got there, he lacked conditioning in my book.
And
But
conditioning
now,
at high altitude.
yes,
Out in Colorado Springs.
Exactly. So I think he's gonna be all right. I think it might be the next round where we see him step up and catch his second win.
Ito still showing a lot of passion, still showing a lot of desire. He does not want to lose his belt here tonight.
But when you get a guy that's slippery as Herring is, the one way of beating him is you apply pressure, but you got to beat him down to the body, and you got to get a little bit more active. Right there, he landed a nice little left hook to the body. I need to see more of that from Ito.
Problem with that is Ito led with that body shot. He didn't come behind a jab, and that's why he barely landed it and hasn't landed shots like that throughout the course of the fight.
That's right.
Box.
So you raise the question in terms of fatigue, in terms of what we would see with the conditionings. Round number 10.
And that's fine, Tess. All fighters have dead spots in a championship fight where, again, they're not exhausted, but they need a round or two to get themselves together.
That's
and
right.
if you're in great shape, you'll catch that second win that you talked about, Tim, and you'll finish strong.
Friendly reminder, coming up June 15th on ESPN Plus will be the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, the unbeaten Tyson Fury against 6'6" undefeated Tom Schwartz. That's in Vegas on ESPN Plus. By the way, what a splash Tyson Fury has made this week, coming to America, making the media rounds, and looking incredibly fit.
He does.
6'9" and long and lean.
Lean and mean. Fight machine.
I love everything that I saw from Tyson Fury except the shorts and the dancing.
Folks, go on Twitter if you want to know what Dre's talking about, and wait till you see what Tyson Fury did in the ring yesterday.
I just want to know who his tailor is.
See the clash of heads and a reach up to that left eye for Herring. 87-84 as it stands right now on Andre Ward's scorecard. Ito winning the last 2 rounds, according to Dre. I think the early rounds were easy to score that first half of the fight, as Herring continuously outboxed him and showed defensive prowess.
Ito feels Herring slowing down. He feels Herring weakening a little bit, and that's why you see his body language. Ito's body language is picking up right now.
Bouncing his step, long striding with the right hand.
But he has to figure out a way to land the right hand. He has to do something different, something that Herring hasn't seen yet, and he has yet to do so.
Well, Ito's not going to do anything different. He hasn't showed that in previous fights. He hasn't done that over 10 rounds. Ito is banking on Herring slowing down, losing focus, so he can land that right hand that he's landed in most of his previous fights.
Well, like I said, he can always change levels. He needs to drop his level, bring the eyes down of Herring, and sneak him right over the top with the right hand.
And we talked about B-side mentality for Jamel Herring. Well, he needs to have an A-side mentality right now, because it's easy to fall back into those comfortable shoes where he did good early. It should be enough. I hope I get a decision. And with that mentality against this fighter tonight, a champion, he could find himself on the wrong side of the decision.
Well, he's in a good rhythm right now. Look at that jab. Everything off the jab. Every time Herring uses his jab, just great work from him. Combinations fly, nice step around, exiting out the side door. Beautiful work by Herring when he's out at distance and not at range. Look at that.
10 seconds.
We were all bothered the last round by what we saw from Herring, looking at the best fighter in the world, looking at his corner. This is the night, going back to what Dre said at the outset of the broadcast, this is the night he's obligated to believe in himself. He's going to be a champion.
Keep it clean.
Heard Brian McIntyre warn Herring, he's going to come after you. He's the champion. It's how he goes about a business, and these are the championship rounds.
One thing I love about Ito in this fight is he's behaved like a champion throughout the course of this fight. He's never stopped trying to win. He's never stopped trying to land that right hand. And even if you're getting outboxed or outskilled for the course of a fight, you never want to see a guy lose that fighting desire, and Ito hasn't lost that.
Use that as a jab.
That was one of the things that Herring told us in the fighter meeting. He said that, the determination, I know this is going to be a tough fight, but the determination of Ito is what I'm worried about. But Herring's done a good job so far in taming that determination with good, smart boxing.
Don't hold him, don't hold him. All right, stop. Come in, brother. Watch behind the head. Okay.
More work from that jab of Herring, trying to keep Ito at bay, boxing him defensive, doubling it up that time, occasionally looking for that southpaw hook as he comes to the inside.
Come on, keep working. Let's go. Punch out. Come on.
Frank Gentile, the referee, encouraging guys to punch out of this situation, not have to offer up the break.
Step back.
As he calls for it now.
Been the same old story. Jamel gets in, get out in range, he works. Ito comes in, smothers his work.
Off balance that time from that right hook.
That's when you catch a guy lunging.
So many supporters here for Jamel Herring, and they react instantly as Ito, the champion, was thrown off balance as he came forward, and Herring came with the right hook.
Yeah, you see Ito, you see the front half of his body goes forward, but you see his feet stay in place. That's when you get caught lunging with a nice little check hook, step back check hook, and angle out by Herring.
Yeah, I want to see that replay because I'm not sure that was not a knockdown. We got to see.
The glove might have touched the canvas. If it did, it's a knockdown.
I'm not sure if it was a push or if it was a punch that caused Ito to stumble.
You know, the bottom line is it caused a reaction, and judges often will score based on that kind of reaction. They see the punch thrown, they see the kind of reaction. There's momentum gains by the hopeful Jamel Herring. They are fighting for the WBO 130-pound World Championship. Meanwhile, you said you wanted to see if this was a knockdown, a punch that lands. Looks like he cuffed him right there.
It was a cuff.
I think it was a punch and a cuff.
Yeah.
How do you call
behind the
that?
head? That was a cuff.
Especially in real time. The referee did the best he could to kind of process the situation, process what happened.
But he kind of threw him down a little bit.
No knockdown.
He kind of threw him down. See, look at. He had his hand on him, Trey, and he kind of forced him down.
So they will touch him up. 12th and final round with the world title on the line. And what a night of emotion this could be for Jamel Herring. With everything he has been through in his life, from serving our country to overcoming the obstacles as an emerging pro, and then knowing what he's fighting for. The memory of his daughter who passed away today would have been her 10th birthday. On Andre's scorecard, he has Herring coming in to claim the title right now, 106 to 103. But remember the power in that right hand that Ito possesses. Right until there's zeros on the clock, Ito is always alive to retain his belt. Has to be so careful of that right hand.
Ito just landed a big right hand to the chin of Jamel Herring, but Jamel took the playback and balanced the scales with his combination to the face of Ito.
Nice little shoulder bump right there as Ito rushed in. He was hit by Herring's shoulder, but all Herring has to do is box this round, you know, play smart, attack when need to, box when need to, and just be smart all night long in this round and just stay focused, and he wins the world championship.
I've got Herring up by 3 rounds going into this last round, but we have no idea what the judges have scored. This last round could very well determine the course of this fight for both fighters.
Who wants it badly? Who's willing to extend themselves here?
Herring to me has dominated this fight from the opening bell. I got a few rounds for Ito during this fight.
Listen, as a fighter, this is what we dream about. This is what we talk about. This is what we've seen the greats who have gone before us have to endure and deal with, even when they fought 15 rounds. These are the moments that you live for. Both fighters have to bite down and find a way to get it done in this last round.
One way to deal with the fatigue, you just got to stay technical. Stay behind your technique.
And you can hear the USA, USA chants for the Marine. Could be just a half minute away from claiming a world championship.
Thus far in this round, it's a 50-50 round for me. I want to see who closes out this last 30 seconds the strongest.
Let's see if Ito brings it and gets reckless trying to hit the jackpot with that right hand.
It could be one clean punch from either fighter that could determine the winner of this round.
There's Ito trying with a right hand as Herring tries to box his way to victory. Could be a magical night here for Jamel Herring. Has he done enough? The Marines are on their feet for their fellow warrior. 9 years of service to our country. All smiles on a day on the calendar that means so much to him. We will hear from the judges when we return. Is Jamel Herring a new American hero, or did Ito hold on? Stay with us. We find out right now with Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. And here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Alexander Levin scores the bout 116 to 112. Judges Thomas Nardoni and Lisa Jampa both scored the bout 118 to 110. All three in favor of the winner. And the new WBO Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Jamel Herring.
The belt is his. So much in life is his as well, as he has celebrated it joyfully, even through so much adversity. Miguel Burcheltz is in the ring. He's the WBC champ, and he wants a unification bout. But for right now, it's time for Jamel Herring and his fellow Marines to celebrate. It would have been his daughter Ariana's 10th birthday today. A man who has suffered through the unthinkable loss now has one of the great wins. Jamel Herring is the new world champion, and he's with Christina.
Jamel, can you put into words what you're feeling right now?
Oh man, it's just unbelievable. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it, but
Happy birthday, Ari!
I just want to first and foremost, I just want to say happy birthday to my daughter who passed away from SIDS. Today would have been her 10th birthday. This is for her. Happy birthday, Ariana. I also want to say this is dedicated to my best friend that grew up, that passed away, who was in the service as well. I'd like to say I love you, Lance Corporal Stephen Brown. I miss you, bro. Shout out to everybody back in Long Island, Cincinnati, Omaha, and all my veterans out there. This is for you. Hoorah!
What emotion in the ring with Jamel Herring.